Hey everybody, it's Ray here, and welcome to my 1 million subscriber Draw My Life special. Which, thank you by the way, for 1 million subscribers. It has been an absolute honor. And I want to say sorry to all my friends and family who I did not include in this. I wish I'd include every single one of you, but sadly we're on a time crunch. I'm old, we got a lot of stuff to go over, so I guess we'll start from the beginning. My story begins in July 1993 in a very small desert town in the middle of nowhere, Roswell, New Mexico. You might have heard of it. It's famous for an alien crash that happened in the 40s. So I was born as the baby, as the youngest, to the two greatest parents that I could literally ever ask for. They have saved my butt billions of times. And I have two of the coolest, most intelligent brothers who I love, and I love my whole entire family so much. Now growing up, I guess you could say, like in school, I was kind of like a weird kid, kind of a loner kid. I mean, I definitely was considered not a cool kid. Just look at me. But it didn't really matter because back home I had so much fun. My brothers and I, we'd play PlayStation and Nintendo, we'd eat pizza, watch movies, and even though they're 8 and 10 years older than me, they never made me feel that way. And of course, I started doing art to pass the time and I loved it. I instantly fell in love with it. Now, my parents ended up getting a divorce when I was 9, and I kind of understood. Sometimes people just don't work out, and they love me regardless. Now, eventually my mom remarried, and my family grew, and I got sisters, a new stepbrother, and I even became an aunt, thanks to the new marriage. Now, on to my teen years, and this is where, how should I put this, things get interesting. I got hella emo, I did not give two craps about school, I became super rebellious, I only cared about my friends, who are still my friends to this day, shout out to you guys, you know who you are. And truly, the only thing that I cared about and poured my heart and soul into was artwork. I started taking it seriously and I could just not get enough of it. Oh yeah, and I also started to mess around with this fairly new website called YouTube, and I started making videos from my laptop, and boy, they were cringy. Yikes. After I graduated high school, I decided to enroll in 1 year of business school, and I literally did not even last a semester. I hated it so much. And even though I knew it was risky, I decided I only have one life to live and I'm going to pursue my art and I'm going to make it happen no matter what. So I enrolled at Eastern New Mexico University to get my art degree. And during college, my parents weren't able to help me pay for school, so I worked my butt off. I spent many nights scrubbing toilets, cleaning up vomit, dealing with drunk people. I had many sleepless nights where I'd be working my other job that would require me to stay up all night long, sleep for maybe an hour or two, wake up, go to school, come back, and start working again. And it was hard work, I'm not gonna lie, and then to try to keep up your grades. But I worked really hard for what little coin I had, and one of my personal accomplishments is that when I graduated, I managed to graduate 100% debt-free. During college, I was in a very neglectful and borderline abusive relationship, and I was going to dedicate a whole section to all the hardships that I went through, emotional and physical, dating this guy, but he's not even worth the time of day. So I'm going to sum him up with a quote his sister once told me, but I'm going to switch it up about him. He means nothing to me. He's just a boy, and soon he'll be forgotten. And that's all I have to say about that. And later in life, I ended up meeting this wonderful guy. He is probably the only person I have ever met that is like him, and he's the only person that I can truly 100% be myself around. And you guys might know him. He's made a cameo on my channel before, Zach Nye, the science guy. And you'll see why I call him that later. Now, with school ending in about 2 months, I was freaking out because I had no jobs lined up, I had no way to make money, and I was in full-on panic mode. So the only thing that I was good at well, kind of good at, was making artwork. So I decided to turn my little tiny following on Instagram to a 100% art Instagram. And one night in 2016, I made a super ghetto makeshift art setup area. I literally got a table from IKEA that my brother handed me down. I got 2 chairs, smushed them together. I duct taped my camera onto a broom, and I made my very first YouTube art video. And you might know that video as the do's and don'ts of drawing an eye. Hey guys, welcome to my first drawing video. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my top tips to getting a more realistic eye. And to my surprise, that video ended up getting 1 million views, which was, of course it took a while, but that was like monumental to me, because to me, that said that I could keep doing this. Now after college, my life became an absolute disaster. The only job I was able to get fresh out of college was a minimum wage job, and anybody who has ever worked minimum wage will tell you there is just no way you can support yourself on minimum wage. Now, I was living in another town away from my family, and the only way I was able to stay afloat was my previous savings from my other jobs. And just to give you guys an idea of how tight money was, I took Zach and I to get $1 bean burritos from Taco Bell. When we got to the counter, he asked if he could add 40-cent potatoes to the burrito, and I had to tell him, no, I just don't have that kind of money right now. I'm already going over budget. You can't add the potatoes. And around this time, I had no Wi-Fi, so a lot of my early art videos, I would head over to the public library and I would use their free Wi-Fi to upload my videos and, promote myself on Instagram. And at the time, I truly felt that I was working for my life. It's either work hard or just be stuck like this forever. And I just knew if I worked hard that maybe someday I would get the benefits. But when it rains, it freaking pours. Now, I was working at Big 5 for about 5-6 months at this point, and I got fired from my job for something I didn't do. A manager threw me under the bus, and I got fired. And as you can imagine, money was already so incredibly tight, and there goes my income. And how am I going to stay afloat now? And it was so incredibly stressful because I had no choice. I didn't know what I was going to be able to do. I didn't know how money was going to be made. And it just so happened that same week that I got fired, that my very first Adsense YouTube check came in, which was an absolute miracle. And I still remember it. It was $400, and at the time, that was like life-changing money. It could not have came in at a better time than on that same week that I got fired. Talk about an absolute miracle. And from there, everything started turning okay again. I started focusing all my time on my YouTube channel. I was always filming ideas, thinking of ideas, doing voiceovers. I was working on my Instagram. I was finally getting some money from my YouTube channel, and my channel grew, and eventually I had got to the point where I hit 100,000 subscribers, which was such a monumental moment in my life, and everything was going okay until it wasn't. Around this time, I lost my brother. And I can't even describe the kind of pain that I go through every single day. I love him so much, and I miss him every single day. And I don't want to talk about it, and I'm not going into detail, and I'll talk about it when I'm ready. It was also around this exact same time that my stepdad was dealing with some very bad health problems with his lungs. And he was very, very sick, in and out of hospitals. And my mom, she was needing a hip surgery, double hip surgery, which made it hard to walk before the surgery and after the surgery. And it was hard to take care of him and, you know, mourn. And to make matters worse, I started sleeping up to 18 hours a day. I was having trouble seeing. I was having trouble remembering things. My whole body was swelling up. It felt like I had the worst flu of my life. And it turns out that I had a thyroid problem, which, if you don't know, thyroid basically controls everything in your body. There's literally a list of 300 symptoms that you can get with thyroid problems. And with thyroid medication, it's not just like one pill and you're good. It takes months and months and months for your hormones to get regulated if you can find the right dosage. And going through all of this was by far the hardest point in my life. And after months of just mourning, emotional pain, physical pain, stress, I got the first good news in a long time. And that good news was that my boyfriend Zach ended up getting a really awesome job in a nearby town. And I moved to the nearby town. I got my very first art studio, and it just so happens that the town that he got a job in, some of my 2 best friends happen to live in this town, and I am so thankful that they're here. And this brings us to the year 2019, which has been one of the best years of my life so far. I got to travel alone for the first time. I went to Florida, California. I went to Playlist Live. I'm going to go to VidCon. And I got to meet not just YouTubers, but people I consider my friends. And on May 22nd, 2019, my YouTube channel hit the milestone of 1 million subscribers, baby! And I'm not gonna lie, it's been a tough road, but honestly, I'm glad I got to experience this thing called life, and I'm glad that you guys are here with me every step of the way. Thank you guys so much again for watching, and I will see you next video. Bye.